Welcome to HSBC Global Viewpoint, the podcast series that brings together business leaders and industry experts to explore the latest global insights, trends, and opportunities. Make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with new episodes. Thanks for listening, and now on to today's show.
Delighted to have you today on the Perspectives podcast series for HSBC. My name is Nabeel Albloushi. I head HSBC Markets and Securities Services for MENAT. I'm delighted today to have a guest with us, Mr. Hatem Dowidar, the CEO of EN, a powerhouse of the telecom in the Middle East region and technology globally, expanding in 38 countries globally. Such a pleasure to have you with us today, Mr. Hatem.
Great to be here in the conference and with you, Nabeel.
Great. So we would like to touch on many areas during our conversation today, but the most exciting one, and that you have been leading, is the evolution from a telecommunication into technology. I think it would be interesting to understand the journey on that and what has initiated such a move from telecom to technology. So please enlighten us with that.
I think that for many years, we've seen an evolution of technology companies that have been growing value, have been growing revenues, and therefore total return to their shareholders, while telecoms have evolved into being a dumb pipe in many countries. And being a dumb pipe or a utility, you end up having a very, very conservative and low growth. And I think a good example of this, if we look at market caps, so 25 years ago, the top 7 global technology companies were probably in a pie with the top 20 telco operators in the world, were probably representing less than 10%.
Yeah.
Today, it's the opposite. It's these top technology companies, in that case, the regular suspects, Amazon, Google, Apple, Meta, and so on, now NVIDIA, and you put them next to the top 20 telcos in the world. The top 20 telcos in the world, even combined, are insignificant.
Yes.
So the value has really shifted. Today, in many countries in Europe, you find that a customer can pay 10, 15, 20 euros for his telco, but he will pay more for his TV subscription. He will pay now for ChatGPT Plus, or for Gemini, will pay another $20.
Leave aside gaming.
So forget the gaming, gaming can be huge. So all these services are now really getting great returns. I'm not saying they didn't invest, but they didn't invest as much as telcos did. Telcos are building these huge data centers, putting towers everywhere, tens of thousands of towers, paying billions of dollars to governments to get the license for spectrum, and then per country. And then they get the same amount like a technology company that has a global platform, that has a scale, that is selling their services everywhere. So
Indeed.
This was becoming more and more obvious. And our thesis is we have, as a telco, huge customer base that we can sell them a lot of services. So we have decided to go and fight in all the adjacencies and get a fair share in these adjacencies. So whether it's entertainment and content, whether it's fintech, in the corporate world, cloud, cybersecurity, IoT, and try to grow in these areas. And we've been doing this in the past 5 years, and the jury is still out, but we have been delivering good results, which means it's probably working.
Great to hear that. It seems like there is a very compelling synergies between what I see from a technology or from a telecommunication into technology. Is it the case as you've described it?
Totally. And I give an example in fintech. I mean, this is probably close to your heart as well as HSBC, but we're looking at maybe different customers than you do, because we're looking at customers that are sometimes too small to be considered profitable by the banks, but for a fully digital service, they can become profitable. And we were looking at some of the services there, as you know, we have digital wallets in many of our markets. And these digital wallets can evolve to do things like buy now, pay later, and so on. And we were looking, the cost of acquisition of a customer is in the single-digit dollars for us. And we were looking in one of our markets to acquire an existing business. And when we looked under the hood, we find their cost of acquisition is above $100. So it's a huge difference. This is a synergy that we can get from being a telco, from having a trusting customer base that allows us
to cross-offer the technology.
Exactly, to cross-offer them this. Same thing, content. When I give people cable TV through fiber at home, I tell them, okay, you get the normal cable TV, but you know what? I give you a discount on Stars Play, which is our digital streaming content, or even give you free Stars Play if they're getting a big bundle. So absolutely. I'm able to, again, get the benefit of that scale of that customer base.
Indeed, indeed. So look, talking about technology, especially today or lately, a conversation would not be complete without touching on AI. And I think this is an area we would like to explore further. Your thoughts around AI. How is AI potentially playing a role? Are you exploring? How engaged are you in AI?
So let's also be very clear. I think AI we've been using for several decades. Wow. So AI is not new for us. I think AI in its current form, or what we call generative AI,
absolutely,
that is the new thing. However, AI, we've been using it in multiple things. We've been using it in our customer value management. We've been using AI in parts of our networks for a long while. But now what we see is an evolution of AI in a way that is also much easier to be used by people, because you can talk with AI in plain language and ask it for things that are a lot more, almost human in a way.
Indeed.
So we have actually hundreds of projects in AI. We actually had to buy a platform, and we were one of the first customers of IBM to do that, to buy a platform for AI governance, because we found we had so many things going on that we wanted to track, that we are not duplicating, that none of the projects, for example, would breach any of the requirements on, for example, data security, customer privacy, and so on. So we even have a platform that governs all our AI activities, which are, at the moment, the last I looked at it, we were now approaching the 1,000 AI projects live at the moment. There were 960 something, but now I think, probably in the coming few weeks we'll pass the 1,000. So a lot of projects. And as a business, the tendency of people is to try to do things that are more fun. And what we have been pushing to do is tell them, no, I want to see the effect of these projects on my EBITDA. So every project we do in AI now, I need to see either an increase in revenue or a decrease in cost. So we categorize now and there is a third type of projects. We have some of those as well, which is improved customer experience, so improved NPS. So these are the three pots of projects. So anything else is fun, but it's not really a priority for us.
Fair.
And we are seeing that some of these things are bearing fruits. We see that there are some areas where we started to get some savings behind AI, especially, for example, in energy management in the network.
Impressive.
We see a lot of possibilities now, reducing power at night at certain areas, switching off sites completely. Basically. I mean, using resources in terms of some of the operations. For example, in Karim, the food and grocery delivery, the way we optimize where the motorbike would pick up the food and deliver it is now completely using AI. Even the suggestion engine in Stars Play, when you open Stars Play and say, this is a show that you might like, the accuracy of this is getting better and better, because as we understand the customers and relating things together, relating to other customers, we're able to use AI in a much better way,
better experience,
to understand this. And of course, the chatbots for customer service are much, much better than what they used to be, because they understand language a lot more now. They're not perfect yet, but I think we will get to one day where the grand majority of customer service transactions will happen through AI, whether it's a chat AI or even a voice AI, and you will not be able to tell the difference if it's human or machine.
Robotics.
Advertising, we're able to generate now quick promotional videos in hours compared in the past. It used to take days at a fraction of the cost. And we have already launched a couple of campaigns. We recently did one for Ian Money, our wallet in the UAE that was completely designed and produced using AI. So
Impressive.
none of the people that you see there that look like very real people, none of them are real people.
It's something for us to look at.
Something that, so there will be a day when this podcast will be completely AI. It will be our avatars having this podcast. So these are all things that are happening today. And then for us as a technology company, there is an added flavor.
Yep.
We also sell AI as a service. So there are companies that don't know how to use AI. So we have experts that are consulting and helping companies use AI, and we sell them GPU as a service. So the processing power for AI as a service. So they don't need to buy AI servers and so on. We can sell them fractional capacity that they can do and customize for them.
Very impressive. So coming closer to home, I would say home being MENAT region here, and your presence globally in 38 markets and broadly. How do you see the difference in landscape in technology in the MENAT region, and when you compare it to the global landscape, potentially challenges and opportunities on both ways?
I think it's very different to put the MENAT region in one pot.
Fair.
Okay, because we have the UAE and Saudi are really ahead of the pack, not only in the region, but probably in the world.
Stand up globally as well.
They are exactly, in the world. They, on a global scale, UAE and Saudi are putting a lot of investment, a lot of resources behind that transformation and AI, and they both have the capacity to be part of that ecosystem, because the ecosystem of AI needs several components. One of them is energy, which the two countries also have in abundance.
Yes.
So that really gives them the strength to be global players there. And then I would say that they are as advanced, if not more advanced, than many of the Western powers. Of course, the US is the global. US and China today are the two lighthouses that we see in terms of what AI could look like.
Absolutely.
And they're competing. Of course, the US at the moment is a bit ahead, but not a bit ahead, they're ahead. But China is trying also hard, and they are the two entities doing it. I think then when we look at the rest of the world, UAE and Saudi are leading the pack in terms of what they're trying to do. We have, of course, some of the Western countries in Europe that have capabilities, and this is why we've heard of projects launched by UAE and
in Western markets,
and Saudi investments in the Western markets, because also then what you have in Europe is talent. Absolutely. You have great educational institutes, and while we have really upped the game in our part of the world, but not fast enough to be able to lead.
Talent, basically.
You need the global talents, and therefore we can see some investments happening here. So the rest of the MENAT region is, I think, lagging behind. The rest of GCC is lagging a bit behind. And then you go to North Africa, it's lagging significantly behind. It's not at the moment playing this game yet, other than a few nuggets of smart startups that are trying to do, different niche things in AI. We don't see anything that is really, it's not worth writing home about.
And focusing on the same from a geographic area, if we narrow down to UAE, Saudi, and potentially rest of GCC, how do you see themselves positioning as global hubs for technology and possibly AI as well? And what type of changes in terms of the infrastructure, regulatory?
Yeah, I think the key problem that is facing the world today is, of course, the geopolitics between US and China.
Yes.
And how to demark the interaction between the technologies from the two big global powers. That's on one side. The other part is data sovereignty and where the data is residing. And this, I think, will, to a great extent, dictate to us the agenda of how the evolution of AI will happen. Because to teach a model with public data, you can do that anywhere in the world, and you can do it in the GCC. But if we want to run in the future big data centers that are serving big parts of the world needs to come to an agreement on how data sovereignty will be like. Because if every country says, I want my data to stay inside the country, then there will be, again, a limit on how much big investments you can do.
The cost versus the benefit of a bigger scalability of the platform.
Exactly. So you'll end up with smaller data centers everywhere rather than big plays of mega data centers that are more efficient, for sure.
Scalability, of course.
That are able to serve a lot of countries. And this is a problem that ended up, we have some. And again, looking even beyond MENAT region, there are some countries in Africa that don't have data centers at all. And if they do not, and they have data sovereignty rules, so it's almost like dooming themselves that they never become part of the global ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is a lot in these regulations that need to evolve, and some of these regulations exist. Some of them will have to be created in the next months and years.
And how do you see the technology shaping up the future of the GCC region in the coming 5 years?
I think the GCC today, in terms of digitalization and advanced technology, is really one of the very prominent regions in the world. We can see all across the GCC region everything being done by apps. People are all connected.
Technology savvy,
smartphones everywhere. I mean, the penetration, GCC as a region, not one country, but as a region, has the highest penetration of smartphones in the world. 5G everywhere. Of course, we're not only 5G. We have the fastest 5G in the world. For the past 4 years, I'm very proud of this. And this allows us to really build a lot of things in the ecosystem behind this. So you will see in the GCC things like self-driving taxis before anywhere else. At some point, we'll see drones that carry shipments and people faster than anywhere else, because the infrastructure is there, the energy is there, and very importantly also, the investment is there.
Absolutely.
Because some other countries might have ideas and have some capabilities, but don't also have the power to invest. We are very lucky and fortunate to be in a region that can do this.
And the vision and the leadership in the region has been so committed to advance in technology, basically.
Absolutely.
So Hatem, touching on a topic or something you mentioned here, the advancement that you're progressing on, the adaptation and technology, and then the sustainability element of it. How do you see sustainability working through your very passionate and aspirations in terms of growth in technology?
Look, I think technology has, created a lot of energy use, but also a lot of opportunity to reduce use. And I think that as a company, we were one of the first companies to have announced clearly our climate plan and our carbon targets. So we have pledged to become emission neutral in the UAE by 2030 and across the group by 2040, which I think very few companies have put dates with this. And so far, we've been able to cut emissions by almost 60% over the last 3 years, and we're working more. And I think that AI and the other technology we're doing are really going to help, because as we need to cut emission, we will always need energy. So what we need is a combination of buying sustainable energy and at the same time reducing the actual energy. And we've done a number of things. We've, for example, moved most of our fleet to become electric cars. And not only that, we're enabling other people. We've launched a company that provides charging stations in the UAE for electric cars called Charge and Go. We are doing, using IoT a lot of services for our customers to help them also reduce their carbon footprint. So it's a mixture of us really being responsible and working on ourselves, but as a technology company, we're an enabler
Adding
for
to the
other
community
people,
and their clients as well.
absolutely, that they can also reduce their carbon footprint. And I think that, technology companies generally are ahead of the curve when it comes to sustainability. But I think we're doing a really good job overall in MENAT and the GCC in terms of the variety of renewables. In the UAE, we also have emission-free energy from nuclear power. So we have a lot of things that are positive,
Absolutely,
that can help with reducing global warming and so on. Although I think there is a lot of discussion about how much of that is happening and how much is not, but we're still very committed
indeed,
to reduce
indeed.
our energy usage and our emissions.
That's a great way of concluding today. Hatem, it's been really a great pleasure. Thank you for your time and thank you for the very valuable insights. Wish you all the best with the EN strategies over the coming years. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at HSBC Global Viewpoint. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. Make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with new episodes.